So hello once again. Today I'm Saul. I'm your GTSC Cloud Facilitator for 30 days. So today we'll be looking at Google Cloud Architecture. So let's begin by looking at the network. So this is the Google network. It carries up to 40% of daily internet traffic, and it is the biggest of its kind on earth. So Google Cloud uses this same network itself. It has 80 plus CDN, that is content delivery network point of presence, and we can see over here that we have a point of presence in Mumbai and Delhi as well. So we get fast connectivity and we can leverage powerful computing quickly over the internet. So for that, so now let's continue with the next one. So let's understand regions and zones. So Google Cloud basically divides the world into three multi-regional areas. So the multi-regions are Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Now these three regions are divided into regions. So you must have seen Europe West, US Central one, US East, or is Asia South one. So Asia South one is Mumbai. Asia South two is, we can say, Delhi. Okay, and then the connectivity between regions is very much fast, and a region can have multiple zones. So most of the, so you must have seen Asia South one. See, this is a zone in Mumbai itself. So most of the regions are basically data centers of Google. Okay, and most of the times what cloud architect they do is that they you have their services on multiple zones within the same region. So if suppose something goes wrong within a region, then too we can use another region in the same another zone in the same region itself. Okay, so we can have our services on multiple zones. Now let's look at some of the GCP products. So each GCP product and services have unique blue hexagonal icons. So you must have seen in the GUI itself, GCP Cloud Console itself, that you must have seen come across these icons. So and in case if it doesn't have a unique icon, then it uses this icon. Now for example, Resource Manager doesn't have a unique icon, so it has this generic icon itself, and so does this Cloud Platform Security. Okay, so now let's look at these tools and services. So Google Platform products and services can be broadly classified as compute storage, big data, machine learning, and big data, machine learning, networking, and others. Okay, so compute engine can include by creating virtual machines. We create compute can include compute engine which creates virtual machines, and then we have app engine which is a PaaS based platform. Again, compute engine is IaaS, app engine is PaaS. Okay, then we have container engine or Google Kubernetes engine on which we can run Docker containers, and then we have cloud functions on which you can run serverless event based code. Okay, and then you must have also used identity and security of IAM, like you must have managed multiple profiles, multiple projects. Okay, from project IDs itself. And then networking, we have networking, like we can create VPN in cloud, virtual network, or you can even use cloud Google's network for your services by using cloud CDN itself. So here you can reserve IP addresses which run on this on the Google network. Okay, and then cloud DNS is also very much useful. Then for big data we have BigQuery. Now BigQuery is the we can say data warehouse of Google on cloud. Okay, and then you can have all of these things, and so for unstructured data you can go with cloud storage. Okay, and for managed relational databases there is Cloud Spanner. Okay, so we have cloud storage, Cloud Spanner, many services. Okay, so and also we can have non-SQL based data stores, or we can even have for machine learning we have speech API, natural language API. So for example, natural language API, this I can tell is that it can classify entities, it can classify the sentiments of in a sentence or anything. Very much useful, you can use it via APIs itself. Okay, and then we have translation API. You must have used Google Translate. This uses the same thing. Okay, and then we have some management tools as well. So for example, if you want to see if you want to monitor a project, we can use some monitor management tools as well. Okay, and then we have developer tools as well. So you can have tools for PowerShell, IntelliJ, or Visual Studio, and even for Eclipse. Okay, so now you can interact with Google Cloud by using any of the following. So for first one is Google Cloud Console. It's a web-based interface. You all must have used it, right? So we get access for Quick Labs projects, and then we use this one, Google Cloud Console. And then we have Cloud SDK. You can download it on your local computer itself, and Cloud Shell. So Cloud Shell is basically the web version of Cloud SDK. And then we have REST-based APIs. I believe most of us have used it. And then we can have Cloud Console for as a mobile application for iOS and Android. Now it must be familiar to you, right? So here we have project info. Here we have the GCP console, and then we have project info, navigation bar. So for project info, you can see here we have project name, project ID, project number. So we will look what these are. Okay. And now the Google Cloud Console provides web-based UI. So you all have used it, right? And so this is like a central thing for your all of the project's data and everything. And you have access to developer tools like cloud source repositories. You must have used GSUtil to access this. And then Cloud SDK, basically you use Cloud Shell, right? And then Cloud Shell itself, you can even have APIs for accessing various services of Google Cloud. Okay. And now let's look at projects. So every Google Cloud service you use is associated with a project. So there are basically three things: project ID, project name, and project number. So project IDs are unique, so are project numbers, but project name need not to be unique. You can specify by them yourselves. Okay, so it's you choose it. And whereas project number is assigned by Google and project ID is also assigned by Google. However, you can change this one during the time of creation itself. And after the creation, you cannot change it. Whereas project name can be changed anytime, and project number is also immutable. Okay, so projects lie over here under folders, and folders lie under organizations because resources have hierarchy. So for example, resources lie under projects. So resources are associated with a project, projects are associated with a folder, and folders are associated with an organization. So projects help us to enable billing. So billing accounts are, they're associated with billing accounts are associated with projects. And then we can even enable services and APIs. Now we can also manage permissions and credentials. You must have used identity and access management for permissions and credentials, right? And you can even track resources and quota usage by using the monitoring services. And you can programmatically manage your projects in Google Cloud. Okay. Now let's look at Cloud SDK and Cloud Shell. So again, Cloud Shell is basically the web version of Cloud SDK. Okay, so Cloud SDK is a command line interface. Okay, and then Cloud Shell is an alternative to Cloud SDK. Again, yes, that's basically browser-based CL access to the resources. And this Cloud SDK basically it is allocated with a virtual machine. So if you are using Cloud Shell, so it is also allocated with a virtual machine itself in the background. That's the background. Nothing, we cannot look it right off. Okay, it's just the background. And then 5 GB, you can get up to 5 GB. You are given up to 5 GB of persistent disk storage and everything. Is also possible. Like suppose you are hosting a web server, you can immediately have a web preview of the whole of the web server. Like you must have used Nginx, Apache. So these are the web servers. Okay, HTTP web servers. And then we have some functionality, some features that we can use in Cloud Shell or Cloud SDK. One of those is Gcloud. Obviously, we all use it. It's the primary CLI command line tool. So which we use to create and manage Google Cloud resources. Then we have GSUtil. So GSUtil is for cloud storage. Okay. Then BQ means BigQuery. So it's also got something to do with the data warehouse of Google BigQuery. Then Kubectl. So we all must be aware of what are Kubernetes containers and everything. So Kubectl is basically a command to manage all these containers and these applications. Then we have emulators as well. So we can have Firestore, Spanner. These are all emulators. And then we also have client libraries with us. Now, Cloud Console, we have seen that we can have a mobile application for it. So here is the mobile application. You can have a command line itself, Cloud Shell on your mobile itself. So suppose you're outdoor and if you are sitting in a car and you just want to check that is everything all right with my services. So you can just have a look. You have set up enabled monitoring and everything. You can just look that whether everything is perfect or not. Okay. And now let's end the session. So Larry David, we will end with his quote. He says that anytime I'm involved with anything that's well received, it's a surprise to me. So that's all from my side. Thank you.